Thomas Voeckler is a French professional road racing cyclist who rides for the Team Europcar cycling team. One of the most prominent French riders of his generation, Voeckler has been described as a national hero, due to strong showings in several editions of the Tour de France. Early life: born in Schiltigheim, Bas-Rhin, Voeckler has been a professional cyclist since 2001. He comes from the Alsace region of France but later moved to Martinique, where he was nicknamed T Blanc due to his small stature and pale complexion. Career Early years In 2003, Voeckler captured 2 stages and the overall title in the Tour de Luxembourg. The following year, he suddenly rose to international prominence in the world of cycling. After seizing the French championship, the lightly regarded Voeckler entered the 2004 Tour de France. After escaping with 5 other riders during the 5th stage, Voeckler gained significant time against the peloton, and earned the yellow jersey. Remarkably, he defended his jersey for 10 days, even on stages not well suited to his strengths. With the maillot jaune on his shoulders, and intense media attention all around him, Voeckler only rode stronger. He survived the dreaded Pyrenean climb seconds ahead of Lance Armstrong. Voeckler finally surrendered the jersey to Armstrong on stage 15 in the French Alps. Voeckler then also lost the white jersey to Vladimir Karpitz. But by then Voeckler was already a national hero. The 2005 season was busy as Voeckler rode many races, including some not considered a fit for his style of riding. His only win that year came in Stage 3 of the 4 Days of Dunkirk. In 2006 he won the 5th stage in 2006 Vuelta al País Vasco. At the 2006 Creta copyright Riem du Dauphiné copyright Libre copyright Ra copyright, Voeckler finished second on Stage 1. He also won the 2006 Paris-Euro-Budges. In 2007, Voeckler garnered a stunning win at the 2007 GP of West France, in which he beat the favourites with a late breakaway. For 2008, his early season was highlighted with an overall win at the Circuit de la Sarthe, and in 2009, he gained his first stage win in a Tour de France. Voeckler went for victory with about 5 kilometers to go, having been part of a breakaway group for most of the race. 2010 After a somewhat slow start to 2010, Voeckler went on to win the French National Road Championship. He was able to break away from the bunch along with Christophe Lamar copyright Vel. Voeckler bested Lamar copyright Vel in the sprint to take his second national championship jersey. His form then continued into the 2010 Tour de France where, after several unsuccessful attacks, he was first over the finish line during stage 15. He launched himself 10 kilometers before the summit of the Orcata copyright Gurry Porte de Balais, cresting the summit alone. He negotiated the very fast descent without incident, and crossed the line in Barnères de Luc with more than a minute over the chasers. In September, Voeckler took the victory in the inaugural running of the Grand Prix Cycliste de Quay copyright Bec, a new event on the UCI World Tour calendar. He downplayed his chances in the press in the days before the event, citing a lack of form. However, he placed an attack in the final kilometer to cross the finish line on the Grand Aller copyright E with a couple of bike lengths over Team Sky's Edvald Boasson-Hagen. 2011 In 2011, Voeckler enjoyed his finest year as a professional. He recorded 8 spring victories prior to the 2011 Tour de France in July, notably taking 2 stages at Paris-Nice, and winning the overall lead in the 4 Days of Dunkirk as well as the Tour du Haut-Var. In the 9th stage of the Tour de France, Voeckler led a breakaway, survived a collision caused by a media support car that injured 2 other riders, and crossed the line second, taking the overall time lead and therefore wearing the maillot jaune. He held on to the yellow jersey daily from the beginning of stage 10 onwards, carrying it through all the Pyrenean mountain stages and into the Alps, but he was unable to retain it at the end of stage 19, the Queen stage, finishing at Alpe d'Huez. Voeckler finished the Tour in 4th place, 3 minutes 20 seconds behind the winner, Cadel Evans, in the general classification, his best career placement in the Tour so far. His fourth-place finish in the general classification was the highest of any Frenchman in the Tour since Christophe Moreau's fourth-place finish in 2000. Voeckler's 2011 compensation from Team Europcar was worth €420,000 a year, which made him the second highest-paid French cyclist after Sylvain Chavannes. His planned switch to Team Cofidis was worth almost twice as much, however Voeckler chose to remain at reduced salary, with Jean Rena copyright Bernardo's team once it refound sponsorship for 2011, able to continue his 15-year relationship with the coach. 2012 In 2012, Thomas Voeckler followed his previous year's successes with another season of victories and top placements, including a newfound focus in the Spring Classics. His spring campaign did not achieve strong results until April, where he attained a top 10 finish in the Tour of Flanders, the second classic monument on the 2012 calendar. His first victory of the season came 10 days later, during a 30-kilometre solo breakaway in the semi-classic Brabantspijl, which he won under bad weather conditions. The following Sunday he took a top 5 placement in the classic Amstel Gold Race, and a week later continued his success in the Ardennes with a 4th place in the final Spring Classic of the season, the Monument Liège Euro-Bastogne Euro-Liège. Along with other Europcar riders, Voeckler managed to win a stage in the Gabonese La Tropicale Amos Bongo, at the close of April. He started the Tour de France slowly, suffering from a knee injury and almost abandoning the Grand Tour, after also abandoning earlier preparation races. However, he gathered strength and later won Stage 10, the first mountain stage of the race, including crossing the Orcata copyright Guri climb of the Col du Grand Columbia in the lead, thus claiming the polka dot jersey for the mountains classification lead, which he held for a day. He also prevailed in the Queen stage of the race, Stage 16 from Pau to Barnères de l'Arc, which included 4 huge climbs including the Col du Tourmalet. Voeckler broke away from the peloton about 25 kilometers into the race and was part of a massive 38-men escape bunch. He passed all 4 King of the Mountains points locations in the lead, and grabbed the polka dot jersey once again as well as the victory, dropping his last breakaway companion Brice Viellot of the Sauzoersen squad while ascending the Col de Pierressord, the stage's final difficulty. He then charged down the mountain to reach the finish line with 1 minute and 40 seconds on the nearest chaser. Thomas Voeckler subsequently won a classification podium spot in Paris for the first time in his career, by holding the Tour's mountain classification jersey, from the Pyrenees to the finish. 2013 Voeckler started the classic season with a good showing in the Tours de Vlaanderen. He escaped the lead group of riders on the last climb with 6 kilometers to race and made a solo bid for the line, but was caught inside the final meters, only to take 5th. Voeckler was clearly heartbroken after such a close call. In the Ardennes Classic Amstel Gold Race, Voeckler crashed with other favourites, was put on a stretcher and went to the hospital where a broken collarbone was detected. By June Voeckler had rebounded and shown strong form once more, winning Stage 6 of the Creta copyright Riem du Dauphiné copyright from a breakaway of 4 despite being outnumbered by 2 Astana riders. Voeckler continued his winning form by winning the overall titles of the Route du Sud and the Tour du Poitou-Charentes. 2014 In January, Voeckler was set to participate to the Tour Down Under, but he crashed into a car while training in Australia and broke his collarbone. He came back to competition at the Tour Mar copyright d'Itirana copyright N, then went on to finish 25th in the Amstel Gold Race and 36th in Liège Euro-Bastogne Euro-Liège. He then participated to the Tour de Romandie in April, attacking to no avail in the final of the first stage. On the 4th stage, he took the 2nd place after being beaten for the sprint by his breakaway companion Michael Orbacini. Voeckler finished 21st overall. Voeckler had a significant result in the Tour de France, finishing 2nd on the stage to Barnères de l'Arc behind Michael Rogers. In August, while he was training, Voeckler hit a car and was injured again, this time dislocating his shoulder. He came back at the Tour du Daouz, finishing 46th. In October, Voeckler finished 2nd of Paris Euro Tours, after being part of the early breakaway. He cooperated well with his breakaway companion Gilles Wallace until the last kilometre to go sign, where Wallace refused to pull and Voeckler was beaten in the two-man sprint. He was so disappointed that he did not go to the podium ceremony, which resulted in a fine and the loss of the €3,770 given to the second-placed rider. Palmares = Grand Tour General Classification Results Timeline = References. External links: Team Europcar profile, Thomas Voeckler profile at Cycling Archives.